Hi, everybody. I'm Rick DiClemente. This is Astrology Unplugged. This is Star Self Astrology. Tonight is episode 305. Tonight I've been urged to return. Oh, yeah, I'm wearing my Penguin shirt because it's getting near playoff time and we have to help them out. Anyhow, um, I did this show before. I've been urged to go over the body, what body parts are ruled by what planets and what signs. And I've done this show a couple of years ago, but sometimes things get updated and I have a new way of looking at it. Plus, I can't do all these shows without repeating something. Just can't do it. So we're going to talk about the body. I think it's going to interest you very much, and I'm surprised that Elke's not here, and I'd expect her because Elke's very heavily into medical astrology, which I am not. I know a good bit about it, but people asking me on the phone, should I have an operation on my elbow this weekend? Should I have an operation on my foot? I say, look, I just don't know, and I'm not going to answer. I don't want the weight on me. Something happens to you. God bless you. Good luck. I got some ideas, but that's not good enough. And I really recommend if you don't know what you're doing, don't talk about health with people unless you really know your stuff. As far as a general reading, I cop out real good on that one because it definitely works. Your health is directly related to how you're flowing. Are you flowing? Your health will be okay. If you're not flowing, you're in trouble. Your money's in trouble. Your boyfriend's in trouble. Your house is in trouble. If you're flowing, everything goes well. Now, that's not a panacea to all things, but in general, if you're flowing with life and no big blockages in your mind and in your heart, and the energy's pouring through you, you'll most likely do better with your job, with your girlfriend, with your body, with your health. And that really is true. In the old days, I tried to look up, what part of the body could be under stress right now. And it's really difficult. And I still can see certain things and I'll mention them. But nowadays, what I do is I more or less talk to the client and ask them questions. Had any trouble with your knees lately? Yes, no, etc. I have reasons for the questions. So we're going to start with top down. And I don't know where this came from, ancient astrology, but it's pretty much proven that the Aries is at the top and the Pisces is at the bottom. And it's pretty much well proven. Now, let me get this book out. Hold on. I've got the book by Rex Bills now. It's the book on medical astrology. Maybe there's something better today, but he and his wife, I guess, well, this must be the 1950s, went through every part of the body and they looked at it different ways. They got it categorized different ways. And I mean, everything is in here. Matter of fact, I think he overdoes it. Some of his stuff I find a little bit, I'm not sure what he's saying is right, but he will at least give you a start. Like if you want to look up headache, what planets? If you want to look up signs, what are you prone to? If you want to what rules your gallbladder, what rules your elbow, what rules everything in your body, your teeth. It's all in here. Rex Bills, the rulership book, so it's called by Rex Bills. REX Bills. I'm sure it's available. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's a really good reference book to have. Now, like I was saying, before I forget, I want to remind you, I've got a guest coming next week. She is a shaman. She's really brilliant. She's from Pittsburgh. Her name is Victoria Hansson. She's been around Pittsburgh a long time, Victoria Hansson. And she's going to be talking about, let me see if I get this right. She's going to be talking about becoming a seer and revelations about the new earth. Revelations about the new earth. So she's really brilliant, and she's been around a long time. She's got several books out, and she's going to talk a lot about shamanism. And I'm going to sit back and ask her questions because I'm very interested. So Mr. Rexy Bills is the book about the body. Now, in old astrology, I don't know how they did it. It started with Mars and Aries at the top. It ends with Neptune and Pisces at the feet, and it largely does. It just does. And I was having a heated discussion with Rachel yesterday, and she has an idea that the concepts are rather flipped upside down. I said, fine. You could think it's ruled by Pluto. You could think it's ruled by Uranus. You could think your nose is ruled by Neptune, but show me the proof. That's all I'm saying. I don't say anything to you about medical astrology unless I've seen it. And what I mean by seeing it, I see it in the chart. I ask the client says yes. Or the client says no 15 times, says yes once. You have to test this stuff. Don't buy what these books tell you. Think about it, consider it, and test it. The best way to test it is with your clients or with yourself. Now, so I'm not saying that Rachel's wrong. She needs to test her theory just like I test mine. And if she proves me wrong on certain categories, then that's fine. I have nothing to protect. In astrology, whatever reason, the planets and the signs stay very closely related. There are discrepancies. There are things that don't make sense. We don't know why it works, but it does work. Okay? When you're in Aries, or you have a lot of Mars, or you're a person getting hit by a lot of Mars, you are very prone to head injuries. The head. The RAM is no coincidence. There are things about the planets that are true. There are things that I know. When I tell you I know something, I always tell you to carve it in your forehead. Okay, that's something I know for certain. And a lot of things I go, well, I've seen evidence of that, but not totally certain. So just take it in, give it some thought, write it down, look around you, ask what happened, find out what happened when you hurt yourself in the past. Why is it one guy has a car wreck and he hurts his knee, and another guy, I don't have time to read these things. Another guy has a car wreck, hurts his foot. It's planetary. I don't know why. It's planetary. Now, Rachel, you go ahead and just do all the research you can and let me know what you find. Okay, now, Mars and Aries rule the head area. Aries people are known for being headstrong. The worst thing you can do with Aries people, Aries babies, is to caution them. They don't work with caution like Capricorn and Cancer do. They work by instinct. You're hurting them when you cut off their instinct. Let them go bang their head. That's it. If not, you're going to numb them. You're going to numb their point. You're going to numb their sharpness. When you see Aries people around you, these people are not always right, but they're very sharp, and they got a very headstrong kind of way of doing things. And if they bump their head, they bump it, they learn that way. Then they learn not to mess around with whatever they're doing. Okay? They're the opposite of Cancers and Capricorns who learn through caution, maybe. So when you're going through a period of Aries in your chart, when you have a lot of Aries in your chart, whether you are in Aries, whether you're with Aries, if it's an Aries flavor to the time that you're going through, you're very prone to mess with your forehead. My good buddy has doesn't matter, his sun sign, he's got Venus and Mars in Aries, and he's had 3 pretty big concussions in the past 3-4 years. I'm worried about him. He's had major falls. He's hurt his head badly. I think I know why. I'm not going to talk about it here. But it's no coincidence the head that gets injured, not the neck, not the shoulders, the head. Certain parts of the body are ruled by certain planets, and some are individuated. It's kind of crazy. But anyhow, people with strong Aries in their chart, they're more prone to migraines. They're more prone to falls where they hurt their head. It's just a common occurrence. And it's because of the way they lead with their head. If you look at the side view of most Aries people, they have a prominent nose, a prominent forehead, especially the males. These are things I know because I've seen it. I've checked it out. Now, a couple of things. When you have little babies and they get a fever, I will guarantee you Mars is on that child's chart. Fevers are almost always, I'm not a doctor, fevers are almost always, Mars is near one of your planets. It's going to last about 2 days. You're going to get a fever, then it's going to subside. Now, I can't speak about the weird things that can happen in the body. I'm not a doctor, but I know raising my child, Mom and I, we knew when there was a fever about. We didn't get all freaked out. We gave it a couple days and it subsided. It's very common with Mars. Getting your temperature up. Another thing, very Martian, write this one down. When Mars is on you, you will have a tendency to overdo it. Honey, you had better come in now. You've been digging those bushes out for the last 7 hours. You're overdoing it in the sun. Oh no, I feel good. I'm gonna keep doing. No, 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 no. Stop them. Go out and stop them because they're feeling false adrenaline. This is true. It's false adrenaline. Stop them when they're about 80%. I still feel like I could work some. I don't care. Get in the house. You're going to overdo it. And when you overdo it during a Mars transit, you're going to pay the price. You're going to pay the price the next few days of being really burnt out or worse. Okay? But you can watch this come. When you see Mars coming, there's nothing that an early astrologer sweats more than Mars. It's just the way it is. Mars is the trigger. So I've seen it every time. I've seen it with myself. Hey, I feel pretty good. Keep digging these bushes. No, 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 don't do it. Don't listen to it. And believe me, it works. Those are real truisms about Mars. I don't understand why it happens. I don't understand the quantum nature of it. Okay, let's go down through the zodiac. Venus is next, and Taurus. Venus and Taurus, there are parts of the body, like the eyes and the ears, that have special rulerships, which we will get into. And that's what's so good about Rex Bill's book. He gets into every part that you have. Venus is the neck, Venus is the throat. Venus is the bull. When you see Taurus people ruled by Venus have usually strong necks, especially the men. If you see a male Taurus, they have bulky, strong necks like the bull has. Somewhat with the women, not always. When they get cancer, they're more prone to throat cancer than any other sign. I don't know why. I'm not saying they're all going to get throat cancer. Okay? Don't misquote me. But they're very prone to having a weakness in that area. Aries are more prone to brain cancer. I don't know why. It's just your weak spot, and it's also your strong spot. I don't know why. But throat problems, vocal cord problems, singing problems, cigarette smoking problems, lung cancer is very, very Taurian. Venus is this is a very debatable subject now. If you read our first book, I went all out in that book, and I just could not keep saying that Venus rules Taurus and Venus rules Libra, because I just had too many clients in my office laying down on the carpet that were Tauruses. Why are you laying on the rug? Because I want to. Why are you laying on the couch? Because I want to. Why are you digging a hole outside? Because I want to. Why are you sitting in a hole outside? Because I want to. Taurus is ruled by Venus. We don't know why. I'll argue with anybody. We also know it is true. It does rule Libra and it does rule Taurus, but Taurus is also ruled by the Earth. I have no idea what we're going to do. How are we going to put the Earth on the chart when the Earth is not on the chart? I don't know, but it's very earthy to be a Taurus. Now, I think something's up with rulerships. I think we're going to start to see rulerships starting to change, such as Jupiter and Neptune both ruling Pisces, and Saturn and Uranus both ruling Aquarius, etc. I think we're going to find a change to the concept of rulership through the next 10, 20 years, because we're finding a lot of change happening anyway. So I think that Taurus people have a special affinity to the earth. When they get hurt, it's very common, hurt the throat. They're at the top of the shoulders. Usually nothing else. Now, Venus is different. Venus being a ruler of Taurus, mainly the ruler of Libra. Venus rules your kidneys. It rules your blood. Those are the main two. The blood flow, your veins, your kidneys. Those are Venus or Libra things. I told you there's little exceptions in here, and you will see this validated all the time. You will see it when you talk to people and verify these things. Next one is kind of hard to do. Mercury. Mercury's a weird one. Isn't it always fingertip to fingertip? Fingertip, arms completely, shoulders across to the next fingertip. And that's really basically Mercury. Your fingertips, grabbing things, holding things, hurting your hands, your arms are mercurial. Okay. Mercury is it's a little confusing. Mercury is a sub-ruler of Virgo. Virgo is known for their hands. Yes, John.
My son is a tour guide in Yosemite. He's a Taurus. When he's not taking people on tours, he travels around the world. He's been everywhere on the earth. He's in Mexico now. He's a Tauran. Taurian.
Yeah. Well, he ain't traveling the world because of Taurus. He's traveling the world because of Jupiter.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Jupiter's the one. Where do you want to go? I just want to go. Where do you want to go? I just don't care. Why? Okay, I just don't want to care where I go. I just want to go somewhere. That's Sagittarius. That's Jupiter. That's not Taurus. Taurus is staying put. Taurus is staying put, staying anchored. So your son, I got to look at his chart. He has these travel the earth because of something beyond the Taurus.
Okay.
Now back to Mercury. Mercury gets a little weird when I declared in the book that I think it's ruled by Chiron, a brand new planet. And since then, a lot of people are coming on board and they're agreeing with that. Not like the people that aren't coming on board with Eris. They're coming on board with Chiron. Chiron is the same prefix in Greek, Kher, Kher, which stands for hand in Greek. So we know that Gemini has to do with the hands. Virgos are known for their hands because they're so good with their fingertips. They're good with handling things perfectly, how they handle things. So you got Mercury rolling 3 signs. You got a ruling Gemini for sure, at least sub-ruler of Virgo, and Chiron being related to Virgo. So it's a little confusing. But typically, Mercury goes across the body like this. Typical Gemini people, the women are very flat-chested, small frame, high-pitched voice, very small hands. And they're the ones you always say, God, they look like they're a teenager, don't they? And they're 20 years past that. Those are the Geminis and the Aries. The ones that look young are the Geminis and the Aries. That's the ones that really retain their youth. Even when they get older, they keep a thin figure. Aries people, Aries women, keep a very thin figure usually compared to other women their age. Aries men will keep a thin figure also. Not always, but mainly. The early signs of the zodiac maintain the early looks of the body. It's just that simple. So Mercury's kind of hard to talk about, but I do think that it's proven, well proven, Mercury does rule Virgo, and there's no doubt that Chiron does also. I don't understand it, but we're under a revolution in rulership, and I think that somebody in the year 2023 needs to write a new version of this book, at least 50 years old. I think it needs to be done. I also think what? Hold on. Okay. All right. Now we get to more and more complexity here. The moon and Cancer. The moon is Cancer is almost always two things: the breast, the stomach. The breast and the stomach. You got problems in your breast or your stomach, you're going to have something activating your moon. Okay? I don't know why. It's just true. Now, surely cancers can get cancer of a different part of the body. They're more prone to breast cancer than other signs. But, it's understandable. The breast is feeding the young, it is nourishing the young. And that's what the Cancer energy is about. It's about giving to the young, is giving through love, giving through to the family. So they're pretty clear cut with the breast and with the stomach. There are other parts that can be related, but those are pretty clear cut Cancer areas. Now, when you get to Leo, Leo is getting more and more complex as we go down the body. Leo is mainly the heart and the spine. Why? Because the heart is the center of the body, as is the spine. You will be shocked at how many Leo people have big time spine problems. A lot of them are very prone to heart issues too. Doesn't mean you're going to have a heart attack, but these are the two areas where they're more prone than other people. Now, when you look at a Leo body, especially, well, the males, females too, they have round faces. First give off. Round circular faces, big whites to the eyes, Natalie Wood type eyes. There's big white area around the pupil. Big, beautiful eyes. That's a Leo thing. Problems with blood pressure, Leo thing. Problems with the heart in general, Leo thing, the sun. Not too much more than that. Leos are known, especially the women, real thick hair, big, thick body of hair. A lot of women die for that type of hair because they have thin hair. They want that thicker hair. You could see a real thick body of hair. Matter of fact, when you see a Leo or Leo rising, they're almost always big bushy hair. Almost always. In the 70s, they all had the afros, and you see the big round hairdos and the big round face. That's the real give off for Leo. Big hair, they like big hairdos just the way they are. Okay. Now we'll get to Virgo, and we'll probably have to backtrack because it's just so hard to do this in a linear fashion. When you get to Virgos, small breasted again for the women, small hands, small features, high giggle area, much like Gemini. You notice they're both ruled by Mercury. Virgo, small features. The number one illness in all of astrology, without a doubt, is upper GI. Intestinal problems are Virgoan. And that's by far the main thing I get reported to me. I think I know why also. It's because the flow has stopped. I've given this a lot of thought. So I've examined it a lot to see how I came up with this. Why are Virgos getting so much intestinal problems? Why? And I examined it closely, and it's my opinion that they have trouble with the flow. They have trouble with the flow. Things start to flow. Stop it. Got to fix it. Stop it. Start 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 it. And the body listens to the mind. The mind doesn't know what it's doing. It's sending out signals, but the body listens to it. The body says, I got to help you however I can, and I don't know what else to do with this starting and stopping when things should be flowing through me. And I think that that's where the intestines get confused. Also, I've noticed with Virgo and people who have been really making progress with flow, with being fluid, their GI stuff gets better. As soon as they start getting better with flowing, their GI stuff gets better. Things start flowing through their body because it's just not their nature to let things flow through. You have to think about that. It's Piscean nature. It's Sagittarian nature to let things flow through. It's not Virgo's nature or Capricorn's nature to let it flow through unchecked. It's Virgo's nature. Stop it. You might be slipping something by here. That might be wrong. You can't blame them. This is their job. So it's very understandable. And I'm telling you clearly, I have more Virgo women than anybody. Without a doubt, through 45 years. I don't get many Virgo men because they're not allowed to complain. They're not allowed to complain about something might be wrong. Let's go talk to somebody. I don't need to talk to nobody. Back on the horse. Okay, all right. But that's by far the number one. Virgos are very prone to stomach, intestinal, anal, the whole area there, stomach down through. Not celiac disease. The different diseases that take place inside the intestines. Usually other things aren't too bad. That's their area. Okay. That's the Virgos, and that's somewhat related to Mercury, and it's somewhat related to Chiron. Chiron's a very underrated planet, Crohn's disease. Susan, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yes, Crohn's, thank you. Crohn's is a Virgo illness, yes. Okay, we go down further. Now we're halfway through the zodiac. Now we're back at Libra, again ruled by Venus, a second planet ruled by Venus. Libra's a basically pretty healthy sign. And I'm going to tell you something else here from experience. Libras they just don't have that many problems. See, of course, they got problems like everybody else, but Libra people are just really good at staying out of trouble. They're really good at playing the game. They're really good at keeping the money. They're really good at keeping their head above water. They're just really good at things. They just are. Because I think they play the game of life well. They're very street oriented. They're street smart. And they don't get themselves in much trouble. They see trouble coming, they get around it. When I look at my serial killer list, way down the list, you hardly ever see somebody, a murderer who's a Libra, unless they've got some really thwarted types of Scorpio energy in their chart. It's just a winning, fluid, harmonious Venus ruled sign. Just is. Like I said, Venus rules the kidneys. It rules the blood. And you will see Libras now and then have illnesses in those two areas. There's no doubt. Now, when you get to Scorpio, you're getting further down the body. All the sexual organs. Anything in the body that's got to do with getting rid of toxins. Anything. I forget all the words for all the things. It can be blackheads, it can be boils, it can be cysts, anything it's got to do with, I'm trying to get the poison to the surface and get rid of it. That's Scorpio. The sex organs, it's obvious. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of this. See what I said? I've seen a lot of this. I've not read about it, I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people with Scorpio energy get scary things happen. They run to the doctor and there's scary stuff going on because they're afraid of HIV and stuff like that. Scare the hell out of them only to find it's negative. I've seen people have nasty boils and things only to find it's really not a problem. It's the body. What happens when Pluto is on you is the body is getting rid of excess toxins at a really fast rate. You're not used to it. The body used to hold on to them. And when Pluto's there, it's getting rid of them. And if it comes out too fast, it can be scary. It can be very scary. I've had a couple experiences myself with Pluto that way, both to be found not problematic. And it's always a relief. Pluto, Rachel, endocrine system. Yes, I think so. I think you're right there. I think the endocrine system. Another thing, Pluto is so hard to discuss. I really think, I've proven it to myself, so I know this is true. Your defense system is related to your guilt, is related to your Pluto. Period. Pluto guilt defense system. Wrap it all up. When your Pluto is excessively working, the guilt is too high, the self-attack is what it is, and it attacks the immune system. That's what I have found. And I'm talking about interviewing people with MS, interviewing people with, chronic fatigue, talking to them. What do you get it? And when I'm talking, I got the dial born. 1965, 1982, I got the dial born saying what planet's hitting what. Because when I'm looking at your chart, I don't care where Mars was or Venus was. I'm looking at the outer four planets. Where was Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto? Where were the big boys when you got sick? Because that usually tells you. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I may be a little bit out of order here, but I will tell you this. Saturn hits you. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Saturn hits you. The reality of the problem is more serious than when Neptune hits you. When Neptune hits you, you may have the weirdest disease in the world. There's nothing there. It's all in your head. Saturn hits you, you got a problem you better get looked at. Because Saturn is the ruling planet that congeals. It brings things to the surface. It brings things into form. That's why. So we'll get more into that in a minute. So we got through Scorpio. That's very interesting with Sag. Last year, I had all kind of problems with my upper hip, my upper thigh. I had to go to doctors and get shots and all this. I mean, it was hurting all the time, that upper thigh, my right thigh. And I looked at my planets, and there were planets hitting Jupiter, and that's what it was, and I knew it. So Jupiter is very clearly defined. Jupiter being big is the big muscles, the gluteus, the upper thigh, the liver, and strangely enough, Jupiter Sag is definitely all about the sinuses. It's about the sinuses. No one has more trouble with sinus issues than Sagittarians. And I think it's great because they don't get any trouble for anything else. I'm joking, Susan. We Capricorns can't take on everything. We tried to. We saw how that worked. No, seriously. Sagittarians have a lot of trouble with sinuses. I've seen it be really bad. I don't know why, because I guess I don't understand very clearly what sinuses do. Terry's having a hell of a time getting here. Hello, Sean A. Never seen you before. Nice to
How
see
you
you.
doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Great to see you. Okay. So Jupiter has to do with moving forward, expanding, growing. That's why the liver gets involved. The big muscles of the body, the hips, hip replacements, the thighs. That's Jupiter. You'll get hip replacements when Saturn's hitting Jupiter, when Pluto's hitting Jupiter, etc. I don't know why, once again. It's a strange thing, but if you have the bent for this is a real good field to study. Because I don't have it, but I've still studied it a lot. But it's very good. One of your last questions when you start to read for people, one of your final questions will be from people, how does my health look? And you're really not qualified to answer. So I suggest you don't. Because if you tell them they're going to be all right and they're not, then what? You're not qualified to tell people when to get married. Don't do it. I finally learned. Best of intentions. But anyhow, Jupiter is generally, are you moving forward? Are you getting in the Winnebago going around the damn country fearlessly? Yes. That way I'm not going to get sick. I don't have to talk to Susan about her health. Susan's going to be all right. She may bump her toe. She hurt her leg, but basically she's moving. That's the zodiac. That's astrology. Are you moving? Are you moving with spirit? God, I hate to sound like a preacher, but that's just it. Are you moving with spirit? Is spirit moving you? And if it is, look at that beautiful cat. If it is, then your problems just go down. Now, I will tell you, it got pretty painful in my upper leg. And as soon as that planet moved on past Jupiter, it went away. I got acupuncture. It helped a good bit. And after that acupuncture, it went away. No more problem with the hip. Never got it in my left hip. Isn't that unusual? Okay, now we're getting into more weirdisms. Saturn, Capricorn, hard things, knees, joints, bones, skin. Knees, joints, bones, skin, because the skin covers the body. It maintains it just like the ring around Saturn. It covers the body, holds it together. Thank God for Saturn. And pity you fools that just keep making fun of it. Because Saturn keeps it all together. Now, Saturn's main weak spot, without a doubt, is the knees. Now, I never had problem, knock wood. I never had problems in my life with my knees, but I remember one day I was going through a Saturn return, and for a couple of days my left knee started hurting out of nowhere, and I'm going, "Oh, knock wood, don't do that," and it went away, thank goodness. But some people that have bad Saturn problems have really bad knees. It's very common. Some people get their knees replaced during their second Saturn return. Very common. I had a second Saturn return. Got a not heart transplant, but open heart surgery. But that was from a blockage inside the artery. So with Saturni, it was a blockage in the artery, 100% blocked. So I was very fortunate. Saturn, the hard parts of the body, including cholesterol, because it's hardening, all the bones, and the teeth. Saturn gets a lot of things. The teeth, all the joints, the knees, all the bones, the skin. And let me tell you something clearly. If you're messing with your tooth during a Saturn time, go to the dentist and say, "I changed my mind. Do what you want to do." Okay? Don't fool around with your teeth when Saturn's messing with you. I've seen people have, what are they called when the thing explodes inside? Abscess. Yeah. I've seen people die from abscesses. Go in for an abscess tooth. You're getting a simple operation, die on the table. Now, they didn't die because of the tooth. They died because they were irresponsible. Because that's why Saturn makes you die, because you're irresponsible. That's what the planets do. They all have the reason. But, most people with abscesses get through it fine. But I'm telling you, if your tooth bothers you, go to the dentist and relax and submit. Okay? So that's a lot of things. Now, remember, in the old days, when you looked at Aquarius, there was no Uranus. So Saturn was the ruler of Capricorn. It was also the ruler of Aquarius. And then in the 1700s, when you got Uranus found, it was clearly the ruler of Aquarians. And now they think it's certain it's not Uranus at all. It's in fact, I can't remember all these names. I'll get back to it. Saturn is clearly Capricorn. Saturn is partially Aquarius, as is Uranus. Now, I don't know why this is clear as a bell. Between your knee and your foot is your ankle and your upper ankle. That is Uranus. That is one of the most common illnesses in astrology, is messing your ankle up, twisting your ankle, high ankle sprains. Those are Uranian problems. Why are they so common? Who wants to take a stab at this? Why are Uranian problems so common in your ankle and in your upper ankle? Why? Come on, give it a shot. Who wants to try why it's so common?
Because you're not moving like forward or moving.
That's very, very good. That's a very good partial answer. You're really close. You're not moving forward. The real answer, that's correct, is you're not doing what you want to do. You're stopping yourself. We are really excuse me, we are really bad at allowing ourselves to do what we want. We're not all Aries. God bless you, Aries. I mean, I'm so jealous of you. You guys want to do something, get up and go do it. Try that if you're a Virgo. Try that if you're a Capricorn. Huh? Oh, Kathy, we got to talk to the committee. We got to get the committee to give us a whole slip before we can go do what we want to do. That's just the way it is. Everything balances out. But Uranian people hurt their ankles all the time. They break their ankle all the time. They break their shin all the time. It's very common because, well, you know yourself, when you're walking, there's really a lot of ifs, ands, and buts that could go on with your ankle. Because that foot's doing so much, really. What sign has to be the most taken for granted in the zodiac? Pisces rolls the foot. What part of your body you take for granted? Your foot. You don't think about your foot. It's way down there. You don't think about your foot. Just do your job. Don't complain to me. Then the foot gives out and the ankle hurts. What's critical part of the body. So that's why Uranians have problems with the ankle. It almost always, when I see somebody hurt their ankle, and I talk to Susan about this and her ankle, and I talk to other people in my current workload, having trouble with their ankle. Don't bypass this. Something happened to you. You wanted to do something and you stopped yourself. So think about the body. Go stop. Go stop. Go stop. And the body's saying, hell, I don't know how to make you happy. How am I going to go stop? The body, I don't want to see that anymore. Wake up and you're partially blind in your eye. That's how it works. It's the emotion behind it. That's what matters. How powerful the emotion. I'm tired of hearing that. Wake up in the morning, you can't hear. Your body says, I'm trying to help you. You don't want to hear it. Let's just shut down this. That'll help, won't it? That's how it works. Proven. And it works because there's emotion behind it. And emotion is the force behind it. So the final part of the body, I failed to mention. And I'll go through some others. I don't know why, but Aquarius is also your circulation. Clearly, it is your circulation. Pisces, I don't understand it fully. It's all about the foot. Everything at the foot. It's very common during Neptune problems. You have plantar fasciitis. You have problems with your heels. You have problems with bruises. You have problems with the feet. And the feet have to be very, they're very taken for granted. They have to do so much. Everything relies on their feet. Everywhere you go. And the feet can get real messed up. And when the feet get messed up, there's only one reason they do. And we're going to ask, and we're not going to allow Claudia to answer this one. Why do you have feet problems in general? Who wants to really take a chance out there in the world of astrology? Why do you have feet problems? It's clear as a bell. Go on, Susan, give it a try.
Because you're not willing to take a stand for something.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I don't think that's the answer, but I have seen taking a stance lead to lower back problems. People with a lot of lower back problems, it can be for not taking a stand, more of a Saturnian issue, but it's also putting the weight of the world on your back. You know, how much you're going to have to put on you, how much weight are you going to carry? It's very Saturnian lower back. Pisces is always spiritual crisis. always. They'll tell you no, like all Pisces, the only word they know is no. When you ask a Pisces question, no. Yeah, well, how about that? No. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. They what they really need to say is I don't know, because that's usually the truth. They don't know. But Pisces problems are from you negating your spiritual part. You want to be treated better. You want to be treated nicer. You don't want to go to that rock concert. You want to go take a walk. You don't want people to make fun of you, so you give in and do what they want to do instead of what you want to do. You're not respecting your own spiritual nature, and you'll mess your foot up. That's what I have found. Now, without a doubt, a lot of weird things happen to your body. Weird outbreaks, allergic responses are all Neptunian. You go to the doctor and the doctor sees the problem and he makes up some mumbling answer about viruses, which means he doesn't know. He's going to try this drug or that drug. And nothing's wrong with you. You can see something's wrong, but nothing is. Almost always, I'm not a doctor, almost always it's psychosomatic. When it's psychosomatic, it's Neptune. Almost all Neptune problems, just like Neptune, they're not real. They're not real. You imagined it. Now, think about that. Neptune problems are because you're at the moment of your Neptune transit, you are more sensitive to everything than usual. Water, clothes, people talking to you, food, fabrics, weather. You are just more sensitive to everything around you when Neptune's on you. Thus, you break out and stuff. I know people. You wouldn't believe some of the people I've talked to that have really severe Neptune issues. And I'm not going to embarrass anybody. The ends that these people will go to put their clothes away, to put their clothes in plastic and seal it and put it in a drawer. I mean, it's unbelievable what they will do to protect their skin and what they think is something attacking their skin. Now, on the one hand, the Neptune has made them vulnerable, and they are vulnerable. But on the other hand, if they quit worrying about it, it will go away. So it's kind of a weird catch-22. So the power of Neptune is that you become more sensitive. The weakness of Neptune is you become more sensitive. Both. So the message is to you, if you're under some weird thing happening to you and the doctor sees, I see it's there, but I'm not sure what to do, they're probably guessing. It's probably a Neptune issue. Look up your Neptune, see what it's doing. It's probably just you being overly worried or overly sensitive about something. And when you start to learn to be not so sensitive, it will usually go away. Let's talk to our doctor here, Dr. Stumpf. If you'll unmute yourself, Becky, I know you're a Pisces and a doctor. Have you noticed with your clients, I know you don't do charts on everybody, have you noticed anything in particular that happens to Pisces or Neptune people as far as allergies or their feet?
I couldn't even tell you who was a Pisces.
Okay.
Not in my consciousness. Sorry.
It's okay, because if I were a doctor, I'd be looking at your birth chart. That's what I would do, but you have other things on your mind. Thank you. Now, an interesting thing I heard, I'm not sure if this is true, but I read this. Must have read it on the internet, so it must be true. RX, I told you this. RX is another symbol for the word radix. And radix is another name for your birth chart. You have a natal chart and you have a RX chart, a radix chart. And what I heard is the old doctors used to put RX on your form, which meant, yes, nurse, I have seen their natal chart. It's an old European thing. It's what I heard. So if it's on the internet, it must be true. Let's see what else goes on here. I don't know. Sometimes that's why I got to keep Mr. Rex Bills around. Ether's Dances Syndrome, John, I don't know. But this is a really good book. It's got its problems, but it's a really good book to get you started. It'll just give you all kind of things that you never would have thought of, like your eyelids or coughing or the flu. It tells you what planets and what signs probably are major represented at that time. And I mean everything about your body, everything. So Rex Bills, once again, it's called a rulership book. If it's available now, probably pretty expensive because it's a big book, but I don't know if there is a newer book out. So
There is. It's on Amazon. It's like the 3rd edition or something like that.
is it his book?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I-
good. Very,
Yeah.
very,
Yeah,
very
it's
good.
a great book. I
Oh,
use it all the time. I
Yeah?
use, oh yeah. And I kind of learn, like, start to make the connections because like something silly, I don't know, maybe fingernails or something. I'll look it up just for kicks.
that's right.
But I have so many examples of this stuff that it's crazy. It's just it's just incredible. But my mother actually fell this summer, and as soon as she fell, I thought, this is serious because she broke her arm and she is a Gemini. And I thought to myself, her vitality she was never the same again, ever.
Mhm.
This happened in August.
Now go back to July. You're telling me she was never the same. And I'm telling you she was never the same because of what she repressed in July, not cause the fall.
Mm,
That's how it works.
mhm.
That is how it works. You may have to dig to find it. They
Yeah.
may deny it an awful lot.
Yeah.
It's usually a pattern that's been going on for a long time. And it finally hits you.
Yeah. 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 There's so many examples. When I was, now that I'm happier or that I feel good about my life, my back doesn't hurt. But yet in my younger years, since I was about 10 years old up to about 3 years ago, my lower back has hurt me terribly.
Yeah, it is
I
a
mean,
really bad,
terrible.
it's a real nuisance too. And a lot of Leos report that. A lot
Yeah.
of them. Well,
And
that's
one of
because
the
you're not
things that I
carrying
found,
you're not
is that I
carrying the
felt,
load.
yes. And anyway, it's great to look at, just if you have the
Okay.
opportunity to get that book, because it does teach you quite a bit. Mental
Yeah,
health.
it does. It really does. And it's got parts that you'll go, I don't think so. And other parts that will amaze you. So I admire the guy because he started off with let's open it up to everything.
Yeah.
And he probably got it from old source books too. But he gives you a good idea, and sometimes he nails it. And what is my gum? Is the gum the same as the tooth? Is it the same as the lip? What is the nose? Is the same as the eyes? Or same as the ears? I mean, it's just crazy. But as far as zooming back out and asking yourself, why did the guy in the car wreck break his knee? Why did the woman that he wrecked into smash her foot? Well, no, it happened so fast. The answer I give it is because everything's connected. It's a real vague answer, isn't it? Everything's connected. It just is. Okay, we have time to open the floodgates for questions. If you have any questions about your body, rulership, I'll be glad to look it up for you. But this is the time to, what sign are you, Sean? Let's get you unmuted. So nice to have you join us. Where are you
Yeah,
from? Where are you from?
I'm from Jamaica, but I live in New Jersey.
Oh, I think you were on once before, weren't you?
I didn't connect, it disconnected. I spoke to you a few days ago, remember? I
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Well, it's nice to
Yeah, so
have you
no
with us.
problem. So I'm a Pisces, Sun, Taurus, Moon.
It's a nice combination.
Mhm.
Who knows why that's a nice combination? That's a very nice combination. Why is a Pisces sun well combined with a Taurus moon? Be very well.
Balance.
No, no. Oh, we say
Mm.
balance.
Yeah.
I think balance is one word. Yeah, yeah. The main reason is Taurus is down to earth, and what I see is what I taste. It's what I feel. It's really real. And Pisces is more prone to seeing what's not there, or not seeing what is there. You know, they're about unreality. Taurus is real about reality. So it's down to earth. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
Well, it's good to have you with us. Any questions about the body, anybody? Yes, go ahead, dear.
Um, is there a sign that or planet that you associate with the gallbladder?
Yeah, I've looked that up many times. I think it's Neptune. Let me give it a try here. I'll turn this off.
It is Neptune.
Gallbladder, gallstone, no doubt Capricorn. Capricorn, Saturn. So there you again see things getting hard, things gathering and taking formation. So
Because
look at,
my son and I have issues with gallbladder. Now he's a Cancer sun. I don't know what his moon is off the top of my head. I'm an Aries sun, Libra. I'm sorry, Sagittarius moon.
well, you need to look at what Saturn's doing in your
Okay.
chart. It's very common that it'll flare up during gallbladder issues. It'll be a Saturnian, you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Saturn is the planet that things float around, but it gives it form. It's what formed the planets. That's why it's got a ring around it. Well, Neptune is the gaseous one. It's the one that rules things fading away and things disappearing, like the Wicked Witch. We need both energies. Neither one's real. They seem like they are, but that's why Saturn gets such a bad rap in the zodiac. It's not because he does bad things, because he forms stuff that you've been thinking about. That's where it comes from. It ain't the fact that he's forming it, it's the stuff you can think about that's the problem. So thank God for Saturn, or we would have nothing. Other questions, anybody? Anybody questions about your charts, part of your body? Keep in mind next week we're going to have
Question about the chart. As I said, I'm a Pisces, Sun, Taurus, Moon, but I was listening to some of your older videos and you've made it clear you're not any one sign. But I have 3 planets. What determines that? The more planets you have in a particular sign?
Yeah,
because
yeah, that leans towards it, yes.
I have 3 planets in well, not planets. I have Lilith, Mercury, and the Sun in Pisces. But also in Scorpio, I have Pluto, Saturn, and Mars. So,
That's a lot of Scorpio.
right. So I'm like, yeah. And in Capricorn, I have Jupiter and Neptune, which isn't good. I know.
Oh, no, no, no. Jupiter, Neptune's wonderful.
Oh, in
If
Capricorn?
if they're together, well, even in
Yeah.
Capricorn, it's good.
Okay.
I find Jupiter, Neptune problematic when they're square, when they're opposite. But when they're together, I really like it. It can
Okay.
save a whole chart. It can save
Mm,
a chart that's a mess because it makes you very spiritual. Forget the
right.
Pisces. It makes you very serious about talking to God. It's that simple. I'm not afraid to use that word on this show. It makes you very serious about love. It makes you very serious about treating people right, etc., etc. Even if you've got the Saturn Pluto and you've had some hardship, Jupiter Neptune can be wonderful. The problem with Jupiter Neptune is it can become megalomania. I'm here because God picked me. He didn't pick you. He picked me. I'm the one. That's the problem with Jupiter Neptune. That's why you see megalomaniacs have the Jupiter opposite Neptune, like David Koresh, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's good. I think what we need to do with you, there's no doubt at the right time, Sean, is we need to look into your past life chart and to see what that Jupiter Neptune, in other words, there's a very strong spiritual basis to your chart from another lifetime, and it's probably one of being over dedicated because Pisces all have to watch out for being martyrs. They climb up on the cross for everybody. They never say no. And when you look into the past life chart, you'll usually see that it comes from an over sense of God's putting me down when God's not putting you down, but you think he is. And that's something Pisces are very prone to. Pisces have to really guard against low self-worth or putting themselves down or allowing other people to, becoming a doormat. Don't allow it. This is what Pisces need to learn. No, no, no. And they're not used to it. They're used to saying yes. They want everybody happy. They want nobody hurting. Say no. So that's what I've learned. I strongly recommend you our book because our book, The Exquisite Zodiac, is there. It is. There you go. It's really written about Pisces. It really is. Well, I hope you enjoy it and learn from it because it's got a lot of energy put into understanding of what a real Pisces is. Come on, Susan. Who's got questions? Who's got questions about the body?
Quick question about Pisces. I have a son who's a Pisces. Of course, he has a Scorpio rising, but he has no problem saying no to me. He's an expert at it.
Yeah, but you can't consider anything about mothers in astrology. It's always the opposite with mothers.
Yeah.
Who knows birth times? Not mothers. They're there, but they don't care what time it is. What about your son?
What about my son? My son Tim or my son Simon?
Your child. What were you going to say about him?
Oh, just that he always says no to me. Pretty much whatever I ask, it's no.
Yeah, that just means he loves you. That's all.
Oh, okay.
He loves you. He loves you and he trusts you.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to say no. My definition of a friend, it took me a long time to figure this out. My definition of a good friend is somebody you could say yes or no to.
Yeah.
Your good friend, you go, no, I don't want to see that movie. I heard it stinks.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to go see that. No. So Pisces, I love them, but boy, it's a tough sign. So I've changed my mind when you ask anybody when they come back in a new lifetime what they want to be, and they all say Sagittarius. Everybody wants to be a Sag. I don't. I want to be an Aquarian. I don't want to be a Pisces.
I do
What?
have a question about body parts.
Okay,
What about autoimmune disorders?
it's all Neptune. It's all Neptune.
You mentioned small intestine. What about large intestine?
Intestines, I don't know. Let's look it up. I would think that both intestines are largely, this book was written well before Chiron. Let's take a look here. We're getting a lot of Virgo answers. Yeah. So we're getting Virgo, which is Chiron and Mercury. So, that's closely aligned with Neptune, because of the sensitivity. But what did I tell you about the most common illnesses in the intestinal area? Worrying does it. Stopping does it. Worrying, agitation. I asked myself a couple years ago, and this took me a while, because I like to ponder certain questions, not take them for granted. What is the opposite of letting things flow? What is the opposite of letting things flow?
Putting a kink in it.
That's a good way of putting it.
Holding it.
Holding it. It's a good way of putting it too. I came up with worrying about it, which is very similar to holding it. Yeah. I mean, doesn't it piss you off when people say to you, oh, just let it go? And you're holding on to it. I don't want to let it go. Okay, well, we're going to bring things to a close. Next week, we have Victoria Hanchin on. She's going to be really exciting because she wrote a book about becoming a seer. And she's really interesting, and she's been around a long time. She is going to be dealing with becoming the new person that came out of the new earth since 2012. And she talks about a lot of things that are rather far out. So come with an open mind. We'll be here next Thursday, and we'll go with her and see how that goes. And good to have you, Sean. Come back and join us again. Everybody, I see you next week. I hope my throat's not as hoarse. And Sean, sometime soon, we want to get your chart included in the group, okay?
No problem.
And get your birth time.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody. Take her easy.
Thanks, Rick. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Talk next week.
You